and this video will highlight some of the issues related to re-engineering and therefore reinvigorating our Introductory Accounting unit. The accounting unit I will focus on is AFM 101, but there are other units of which there's similar but less significant issues related, which all would benefit from what I'm about to discuss. So if we look at the current Introductory Accounting unit, we've got a unit that, despite its weaknesses, has worked okay in the past given the constraints it's had. And in recent years we've steadily added to the resources and reduced attrition, but this unit does have a high history of attrition, so attrition is still significant. Now there are new tools available that will make the existing model look tired, unappealing, inefficient and ineffective, and I'd like to talk about how we may address that. So let's go back to the start and we'll look at the current state of play. We've got 12 topics now, and they're sorted into weeks, going to the 12 weeks. So they start down the very bottom. You see the role of accounting in society. They move up one level to the next row, relates to the accounting cycle. Then after we've worked through that, they move up a level again, looking at individual account categories in the area of assets and a little bit of liabilities. And we finish off the unit by only having a small amount of use at using financial statements. Now that's it, that's the way it is, and that's a reasonably standard approach to teaching accounting. It lines up with a lot of the textbooks and a lot of the ways that other universities do it. So let's look at that. How does it work? So we currently provide students with a map to help them find their way through all the unit material. So we start off with the role of accounting, we come down to the accounting cycle, recording in a journal. They can find their way through to posting to the general ledger, find their way through to the trial balance, then track their way back through, if they're good enough, to closing the accounts. So they get some clues of where the material is and how to get there. Also there's feedback along the way. And there's structured feedback in terms of 2 quizzes and an assignment that has 2 parts. So there's the structure of the formal feedback to give them some guidance on what to do next. And there's one exit point, and that is passing AFM 101. Now, there's some issues with that. In the way the topics are structured at the moment, and we can address a lot of these things individually, and we've been slowly doing that, but we can also, now may be the time to address them by a rethink. Because of the topics at the moment, and generally the unit generally, we don't sell the benefits of it. The structure of the topics don't really support a flexible pathway. There is a map through the topics. It's a useful guide, but it lacks precision. There's still it leaves a fair bit of choice up to the students, and a lot of them are not sure about which way to go, and as a result a number of students get lost with that map. And so that also, we have feedback that we've developed substantially in recent years, but if we look at the facilities available today, it does lack timeliness, precision and specificity about what the students should do as a result of the feedback. We also have a number of dysfunctional assumptions, and one of those includes that all students have roughly equal capacities and roughly equal motivation, and also there's really only one, after they've enrolled in the unit, there's only one possible destination that enables them to move forward, and that's passing the unit AFM 101. The current unit also has little demonstration effect regarding accounting generally. It does have some significant strengths which we would wish to build upon. One of those is the practice set, because it provides the context for the learning. And also the unit is reasonably scalable, but it can be made much more scalable. So how can we go about doing that, and what would be the advantages? Well, by Getting this right, we will significantly improve student performance as measured by retention, pass rate, and also excellence in later units they study. There will be greater student satisfaction as reflected by increased enrolments in the students, and the students will also know a lot more about, and students will also have a greater sense of how accounting information works, and this will especially enable them to deal with emerging issues associated with accounting. And there'll be such things as sustainability accounting, the way accounting reports are going to be done, the role of technology in accounting, especially to do with measuring devices and metrics. How do we go forward? Well, the future is that we repackage the current topic material into modules that will be more appealing to the students, more functional, and will be easier to deliver in alternate forums such as an iPod app. We'd also like to make the map more useful, and we'll have directions on that are available on the map that will guide students through the most effective course for them, the most effective path for them, based on a number of accessible tasks that we do on the way through. I'll skip over this bit. Well, actually, I won't skip over it too much. What I'm about to show is one way we may package the modules, and there will be a colour scheme in this package of the modules. And here I'm thinking of packaging the modules so that students could, at some stage through the unit, switch from the advanced unit, which is the current unit, AFM 101, to a terminating accounting unit, AFM 101B, we'll call for the moment, and that accounting unit would still enable them to get a core accounting unit to give them some sense of how accounting works, and go on and study other business-related areas, but it would not enable them to go on and study further accounting. So I've divided the units up into what would be common between both units, what would go in the advanced unit in the blue, and what would go in the basic unit in the white. There's also other material in the basic, and this basic material would be similar to the advanced material down here, except at a much more basic level. Then there'll be also some basic unit that is not covered in the advanced unit, but it would be optional for students that want to accelerate, that are advanced students that want to accelerate their study in some way and do extra units. They would be able to study that. And there's also some advanced optional units. And these are the ones that are really designed for students that want to get ahead. It may be conceivable, I know models don't allow for it at the moment, but it may be conceivable at some time in the future that students could study up in a unit they're enrolled in, get some extra modules which can be applicable to credit to some other unit later on. So how would these modules look and how would the course go? Well, we see here we've got the modules for, we need to, well, actually a lot of these modules are fairly progressed at the moment. Some especially in the new course area have not even been looked at. And most of them will have a pretty fair idea of what's there. Much of it is building on current material, but looking at it from a different perspective. So we have your financial reports, using financial reports, which both units study, through the accounting equation, through to the role of the accounting equation basic. Then the next two columns, the unit split into two different parts. So we got for basic budgets and the accounting cycle basic for the basic course, and we've got the more detailed material about recording business transactions, accounting information systems, completing the accounting cycle. This column here is a lot more about preparing financial statements. This next column over is a lot more about using them. So The advanced students would go on with the blue column. Then both students would join back up here together to look at internal control, protecting cash. Again, there'll be a bit of extra material here. And then we see we're getting right to the end. There's the more challenging material for some of the advanced students. And again, I will talk more through this, of how this will work as the process unfolds. We would also see that each of the modules were broken down into sub-modules. So we click there on financial reports, and we move into the balance sheet, income statement. Then financial reports broken down again even further into how you might use those financial reports. Would you invest in a business? Would you lend them money? To also some of the characteristics of financial reporting. Can the information be relied upon? Is the information relevant? Is it good basic material? So each module would be broken down into the sub-modules, and then each of those sub-modules would be supported by topic notes, resources, podcasts, videos, exercises, links to other material. There'd also be quizzes for practice, and there'd also be some quizzes or assessable tasks of some form that had the purpose where you could move forward or be directed back. So do a quiz, you need to get a certain amount of marks, which should be pretty close to the 100%, not necessarily 100%, which would earn you the right of passage to go to the next level. Or if you don't make the grade, it directs you back to your next crucial action. And I will also look at this in a few minutes again. And there will also be a student dashboard to highlight the student's progress. Let's have a look at the student dashboard. Student dashboard at the start of the unit would look something like this for each student. Now, and this still has a bit of refinement to do, but there it is. There's each module that they can address, and they can click on one of those and go to the information on it. As they progress through the unit, the module, the student dashboard, might take a different shape. And I need to point out here that the colour scheme is independent of the previous colour scheme. And there's a lot of similar things used. Here, this colour scheme, the green is something that's been satisfactorily completed. The student have earned their stripes here, they've graduated the level through to the next level. And over here, blue, they've started on it, they've got some things in, but that's still a work in progress. And the pinky colour means they have started it, but they've been directed back because there's some crucial aspect of this unit that they've missed. So how would this then work? They get to their student dashboard, they know they've got a red bit here, so they need to click on that, and then they'd go to the student dashboard for that particular area of recording transactions. They could see they've done quite well, and they've got 4 of the 5 key areas done, but for debits and credits they've failed what they need. And so here they'd be able to click on that to say, righto, what should I do next? Debits and credits, and this would point them to the term I use is their next crucial action. Their next crucial action is debits and credits, and there could well be other material they're directed towards, and then they have the opportunity to reset the assessment task so that they can move forward. Now, that is a rather simplistic overview, and I can imagine there'll be lots of questions coming from that, but it gives some sense of the ideas I have in my head. We also need to tie this together because those modules are, while they build on one another, they are separate modules. And there will be a practice set, a self-marking practice set with instantaneous feedback. It will also be an important plank of the unit. What is a practice set? It is a pretend business designed for students to take source documents and undertake all the accounting actions they need to go on and prepare the financial statements, and then to analyse the financial statements, make decisions about the business. This would also make a great platform for something much further in the future, but of building a number of businesses in a virtual world that students could operate on, and then they would then generate their own source documents, and their own interactions would take place. But it would need to incorporate much more than accounting, but it would be a full business type activity. As well as that, I've got a blank page, and I'll go back here and in fact I guess scale back a bit to talk about the student dashboard in a sense, and other parts of it, looking at the pathway. So how does the pathway work? Students go to a module, they study a module, they do a quiz at the end of the module, and one of two things happen: they get the required marks and they go on to the next module using financial reports, or they don't get the key material, they get a no, and they're directed back to resources, they work through the resources, and then they cycle back through whatever material's there, and they get to do the quiz again. They either again go on, or they cycle back. So if the student will then know if they're at level 1 or level 2 or level 3, they'll know how far they've progressed through the unit. And this goes all the way through. It's especially relevant for the first part of the unit, where material does very much build on previous material. There will be still a bit of thought on the best way to structure it, what's the perfect order. Another thing to do with pathways, and that what we've already talked about, the alternate pathways for the students, and I guess I went through that a little bit earlier, that you go to the common material, then you move down to the advanced material, or you move down here to the terminating unit material. Actually, that's probably a pretty good spot to finish. There's just more examples of material here, but that's a spot to finish, so thank you.